beach in Del Mar, California with a gorgeous sunset. I'm Rosa Román, and this is New Mexicast. Welcome back to New Mexicast, everyone. I'm Rosa Román, host and creator of New Mexicast. That intro you just saw was taken while we were on vacation in the San Diego area with my family. And if you stick around till the very end of this episode, I have a special treat for you, some more video from the beach. I think you're going to like it. Speaking of something special, we are coming up on the 1-year anniversary of the launch of this enchanting video podcast. I cannot believe it's been a year. I think it is a good time to stop and smell the roses and take a look at how far we've come, but also look ahead to the future. Now, one of the things I'm always marveling at is how much my little girls have grown. They are now 2 and 4 years old, and New Mexicast has grown right along with them. When I'm a mommy, in my mommy mode, I'm always thinking about what works and what doesn't work when it comes to taking care of my little ones. The same is true for my other baby, New Mexicast. So I want to start by taking a look at what is working. Well, New Mexicast is the only video podcast of its kind in the state. It is not a refeed of the morning cut-ins or anything like that from the local stations. It is authentic and true to the vision that I had maybe 2 years ago when I started thinking about the possibility of launching a video podcast. And that is to use my broadcasting skills to try to tell stories that might not otherwise get a chance to be told. Stories about interesting people and places in New Mexico and beyond. So I really feel like I am doing the kind of work that I should be doing. Not only do I get to tell those unique stories, but I also get to be the kind of mommy that I really want to be, engaged and involved in my daughters' lives, especially while they're so little. Now, those are some things that are working. I'm going to take a little break, and when we come back, I'm going to take a look at some of the things that maybe are not working as well. We'll be right back. This episode of New Mexicast is brought to you thanks to the very savvy technical help of my favorite web development consultant, Adam W. Warner. He's well known for his WordPressModder.org site, where he offers techniques and tutorials for building your presence on the web. And he has saved New Mexicast's website on more than one occasion. So if you need technical help on the web, I highly recommend Adam W. Warner. Find him at learnwebtools.com. All right, when I think about some of the things that aren't working, the website, the New Mexicast website, is the top of my list. And that guy that you just saw, Adam W. Warner, he is currently, right now as we speak, helping me revamp the New Mexicast website. So definitely stay tuned and look for sweeping changes in the coming weeks. I think you'll be impressed. Now, the big difference, I think, between what I'm doing on New Mexicast and the daily news grind is that the stories that I'm putting together take a while to edit and pull them all together, especially with me being a full-time mommy. Now, usually that's not a problem because I try to choose stories that are evergreen. That means that if you watch the story 2 years from the time I posted it, it's still completely relevant and valid, and you can get enjoyment out of it as well. But there are times when that is a problem, having that lag time, and I'll give you an example of that. Just recently, I went up to Taos, New Mexico for a huge press event called the Summer of Love. And it was an incredible event that really, I was so impressed. I ended up walking away with 5 stories shot that weekend alone. Well, one of the stories that I shot while I was in Taos was about a woman named Lisa Law. And she really is an amazing person, perfect example of the kind of stories I like to tell. But after I shot the interview, she realized that the story wasn't going to be posted until after her upcoming show, which is on May 24th. Needless to say, she was pretty disappointed about that. And she suggested something that actually I thought, that might be a very good idea. So please consider this the very first New Mexicast preview episode. And we're going to begin with that show I told you about of Lisa Law's show, and that is May 24th.
Yeah, well, I was at the original Summer of Love in San Francisco at the Haight-Ashbury, and I shot Timothy Leary and Ram Dass and Ginsberg, and I went to Monterey Pop, and I fed 200,000 people at Woodstock. So I've done a book called Flashing on the 60s and a movie with the same name, and then interviews with icons flashing on the 60s, which are the interviews from my movie. And so I've been documenting Dennis and Dean and Larry and Ron for years and years and years. So I'm the photographer for the Harwood during this event, and I'm having my show on May 24th. My hippie bus will be here, silver, totally psychedelic. It's a museum piece. And then I'm going to have a show at TCA, and then it's going to be my movie and book signing and Q&A afterwards. So I want everybody to come to that because it'll be outstanding. In fact, we should have one of the greatest events of the Summer of Love.
For more current events, you can follow me on Twitter. That's twitter.com/NewMexicast. I tweet almost every day and post about new and interesting things that are coming up. So definitely please consider following me on Twitter. Now, speaking of interesting things coming up, I want to talk a little bit about some of the stories that we have in the queue here at New Mexicast. Now, I already told you about the Summer of Love event up in Taos, and that will include a close-up chat with actors and artists Dennis Hopper and Dean Stockwell. Here's a little preview.
This is Venice, where we all live down by the beach, and these are his drawings and wonderful things. I mean, he's a terrific artist, and as I said, to me, he's the greatest artist.
What do we think? Yeah, you like that? Well, I can't speak for Larry, but for me, it's an honor. I really feel it's an honor to show with the other 5 artists, and especially to be selected by my friend Dennis. Yeah. So with you, Larry.
Yeah. But these are the things that he's doing here. He's now moved to Taos. He lives here permanently. And all these things that you see here have been made in the last few years here in Taos, except for these early pieces. I wanted to have some sort of reference to the fact that these things go back, and I think this is 1960 something. Yeah, 1968.
And another story out of Taos, viewers will definitely be flying high when I take them up in a hot air balloon with Pueblo Balloon.
There's a lot of petroglyphs in the gorge, too, because the Indians have been here for like thousands of years. And a lot of hot springs. There's a couple of them on the sides of the gorge, but a lot of the hot springs pop up in the middle of the river, so you don't get to enjoy unless you're walking in the river.
You'll be reminded of the kindness of strangers when you meet a group from outside of New Mexico that came to the Navajo reservation to help rebuild a community center.
We are connected with some of the churches across the U.S. and even in Albuquerque alone we have Sagebrush Community Church. They're helping us. There's about 40 of them volunteered to come in and help wash the wall down and also repaint the gymnasium. So what they want to do is reach out to the young people and bring them in and help them as much as they can.
What did you say you're working on? I didn't get on camera.
I'm laying tile, something I've never done before.
Have you done a lot of things you've never done before since you've been here?
Yes, I have.
Also coming up, lunch with some llamas, courtesy of Stuart Wild of the Wild Earth Llama Adventures out of Taos.
This is Machu, who's total new guy. Pichu is back home. He wouldn't let me catch him this morning. Raja here likes to lick the truck, and you'll see that his tongue hangs down about 6 inches while he does that, and he's got foam all over his mouth. There you go. Ready? Total hilarious. Hey, Raj. And then this is K2 sniffing Rosalinda's hat there. Awesome.
Come on, Zepper.
All right. So here in the Big Arsenic Springs, and again, if you didn't catch this, this is fresh water that is percolating. That's percolating out from the volcanic rock right behind us and cascades in these beautiful waterfalls down in the Rio Grande below us.
Okay, so I think that should be plenty to get you excited about what is coming up here on New Mexicast in the coming weeks. Now, if you're a sponsor who's interested in getting your name out there in a positive way, please consider sponsoring one of those episodes. Every single one that I just previewed is available for sponsorship, at least as of this recording. Well, that's it for now. Please don't forget to friend us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or subscribe to New Mexicast by email or in iTunes. You can find links to all of that if you go to newmexicast.com. You will also find a year's worth of quality stories, so definitely go look at some of the archives. Well, thank you to all of you for an incredible year. I'm going to leave you with something that should make you smile, hopefully in the same way that you guys have made me smile throughout this entire year. Thank you so much. I'm Rosalinda Román.
Like a dream I had.
New Mexicast theme song is New Mexico by Dorian Spencer. Additional support for New Mexicast provided by
Well, they don't know. You see a fin and you don't sit around and dick with it. Yeah, they're fishing. Probably shark.
Could be. But you had more of an arc shoots back.
Oh! Did you get that?
I did.
Did you get them?
That was awesome. That is going on New Mexicast.
That was cool.
That was awesome.